The corner, the corner, the corner.
Hey, welcome. Come on into Cousin Ed's Corner. This podcast is where you'll find real, authentic conversation, organic conversation, unscripted, unfiltered conversation, like you're home with your cousin. It's all about life. It's about finance. It's about spirituality. It's about love and everything in between. I'm your host, Cousin Ed. I'm excited to bring you along on this journey. So sit back and listen in as we dive into a wide range of topics. I have some diverse guests coming on with an array of thoughts and opinions. My goal is to create a space all for us to connect and communicate. It's not really about me. It's about the community as a whole. Let's enjoy it. Let's sit back. Let's think about our past. Let's move into our future. It's about
The corner, the corner, the corner. So no matter how you cut it or slice it, we're all here together. I'm just here to give you a piece of my heart, my mind, my soul, and my mentals. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another episode of Cousin Ed's Corner. The corner, the corner, the corner. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. What's going on, fam? What's going on, fam? It's your boy, Cousin Ed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We're back. We're back with another one, Cousin Ed's Corner. And this is a corner connection. A corner connection. This is another type of show. Sometimes, look, first of all, I never, ever will pass up the chance to thank God. Never pass up a chance to thank God. So this normally will be a thank God for everything. It's a Friday show. But sometimes we switch it up and just have a corner connection. So first and foremost, thank God for everything. Thank God for you. Thank God for me. Thank God for our families, our friends, and our loved ones. We want to thank God for letting us make it through this week. Thank God for keeping us together, keeping us safe from any hurt, harm, and danger. So let's thank God. But the concept behind corner connection is just having a second to tell a story about who I am a little bit more. And it's going to be a short and brief one. I was talking to someone, and we talking about all the jobs that I had, and I wanted to talk about a gentleman I just met recently. I went out shopping, and I was looking for some gear, right, some fit, right, and I was in a store, and big up to this young man. I just want to make sure I'm not trying to blast him, I'm not trying to humiliate him, I'm not trying to demean him or anything else. So just want to say big up to this young man. But it led me back to a job I once had, and I wanted to discuss that and also discuss him. So I was in an establishment, not going to say what establishment, but I was going to try on some clothes. Went and found a nice pair of casual slacks, and the slacks, let's just say they, on the tag says $60. Let's just say $60. I get to the register, start ringing things up, and let's say it rings up for $70. It's the wrong numbers, I don't remember, but let's just say those two numbers. $70. It's like $10 more. So the gentleman who was ringing me up said he couldn't change the price, let him get his manager. The gentleman who's ringing me up was a senior to myself. So let's say he had to be in his 60s, right? He brings over his manager who looks like he's 14, right? Nice young man, respectable, and came over. He said, well, let me go see if I can find any more of these pants at that price. So I'm standing around waiting. He comes and he's like, well, I found a couple of them, but they all have the $70 price, not the $60 price. He said, store policy is if I could find two other items, if three in the store are the same price, then I can give it to you. So stay with me now. The tag price says $60. He could not find any other $60 ones. And he said he could not give me the $60 price because no other tag item in the store was $60. So as you know, I'm from I'm from Brooklyn. So I had to calm myself down. And I said, well, that doesn't make sense to me. That, if you have one price in the store that shows up as $60, then you should get the price. It's not a sales price, it's not a tag price. It's none of that. It is the price that's on the pants that came from the manufacturer. So he was like, well, I can't do anything about it. I said, is it you can't do something, you won't do something about it. Like I said, the whole time he's respectful. He stood his ground. He's like, I can't do anything. I said, well, can you get a manager? He said, well, I am the manager. I said, okay, can you call another manager that makes some sense? Because this doesn't make sense to me. He said, well, that's the store policy. So since he said store policy, I said, let me go ahead and just call the company. It's a national brand. Let me call the company. I called national brand, get the guy on the phone. He said, no, that doesn't make sense either. He says they should be able to honor the price, but it's really up to the manager. He did say it's back up to the manager. I said, okay. I hung up the phone and I'm talking to the young man. I said, how old are you? He said, 21. I said, one, I commend you for standing your ground, right? I commend you for doing that. I said, but two, you also got to think about what's right. I said, if you're working someplace, first of all, you're a manager, you don't have the capability of doing something. They don't give you the power to be a manager. Then you need to, use the job for what you can use it for, but also consider where you work, right? Second thing is, doing the right thing by the customer should always be the ultimate standard. That's what you should always want to do, right by the customer. I said, I gave him the example that I wanted to give you. This is what the whole show is about. I don't know how I got all the way around it, but I want to give you background why I thought about it. I once worked for a air conditioning company, right? And the gentleman that I worked for was from another country. He wasn't of our pigmentation, right? He was from another country, had an accent and everything else. I just want to go all the way into, I don't want to discriminate because he's from another country. I just want to let you know he wasn't us, right? And when I was working for him, I was still in high school. I was an intern. I was, learning more about the business and everything else. And I was an apprentice. So I was under somebody else. And what I started to realize that things did not seem right. We would go to certain neighborhoods and things were different. So let's just say you went to a nice plush side of town. That whole atmosphere and the whole approach was totally different. When you went to my side of town where I lived, the approach was totally nasty, turned off, everything else. If you had one repair on the, I'm gonna say north side of town, the repair was a decent price. The same repair on the south side, my side of town, was a higher price. So one day I questioned the man. I said, hey, why are we charging a higher price for this service? He said, I got to make sure the truck don't get broken into. I got to make sure, to recover the cost of coming out here and everything else. And at that point that day, I knew I didn't want to work for this man. I couldn't work for this man. Now, could I walk off the job at that point? I wasn't capable of walking off. But I set in my mind, I was going to give myself 2 weeks and I was going to leave that job. I didn't like what I saw. I didn't like doing that to people that look like me. And it wasn't only about me. It's doing the right thing. Last example about this man, we went into a house and he did it to somebody else. It wasn't even one of us, right? We went into somebody's house and they had a part that was broken that we had on the truck. But he told them we had to take the unit with us to go and fix the unit in the shop. Doing things that's not ethical, not correct, not for the customer, should question you and your morals for working for that person. Now, you can get all the way down to it and say, hey, you work at this company and they do this and that and other. Yes, we all have. But you gotta question how close you are to it. I mean, how many decisions can you make, and can you make a change? So I gave the young man that story, and lo and behold, 2 minutes later into the conversation, he said, I'll do it for you. And it wasn't about the $10 for sure. It's about just the principle behind it. Doing the right thing. And that's one thing we must teach our kids, to do the right thing. Don't stand up for something or you'll fall for everything. So, it's your boy Cousin Ed. I had that in me. I wanted to get that out. Hopefully y'all like the Corner Connections. If you do, be sure to hit me up, 762-333-2032. Hit me on any social media platform, Cousin Ed's Corner. Leave me a text, leave me a voicemail. Go to cousinedscorner.com. I love each and every one of you. There's nothing you can do about it. Have a great weekend. I will see you on Monday. I'm out of here. Peace. Thank you for listening to Cousin Ed.